All right, so once again, I'm live coming in with your boy Frank Nitty. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yo, what's up, man?
Chilling, man. Came from hitting that gym real quick, man.
Yeah, a lot of things going on, man. A lot of clown shows.
Oh yeah, it's mandatory.
A lot of things going on, man, out there. Let's say out there in California, they're gonna be getting rid of the Pizza Hut drivers. They're gonna lose 1,200 jobs.
Damn, bro. What they gonna talk about green emissions? Something like that, huh? Something about what's the name, huh?
Hey, man, that's what.
The environment or something? Or was it
No,
global war? Was it?
no. You just raising the minimum wage to $20 an hour.
See, remember we was talking about that a couple months ago. Remember we was talking about that? How would that be fair to everybody else? But then, okay, so this is what they do. So now they're gonna punish you. Okay, shit. Which way? Oh, now we can't even afford to pay our drivers now. But damn, dude. So what's gonna happen to the delivery then? These people crazy, bro. And
I show you the
delivery
article
is
right quick.
and you gotta look at it like this. Delivery is real popular right now because you got Instacart, you got DoorDash, you got what's the other one? Postmates. I don't know, man. That's a dumb idea because now Instacart and DoorDash number are gonna be making all the money now. Or no, no,
You
Instacart's
see
making money.
that? Hold on, let's
Well, you know
go.
what I mean.
Pizza Hut to lay off California delivery jobs in 2024.
Dude.
Um, let's see. Thousands of Pizza Hut pizza delivery jobs in California facing law of the two major Pizza Hut franchises eliminating the delivery service. This will affect 1,200 workers of restaurants in Orange, Los Angeles, Riverside, San Bernardino, and Ventura. They also have more than 800 workers of Pizza Hut locations in Sacramento, Central California, Southern Oregon, Reno, Tahoe area, according to reports. Operators are blaming a new state law that starts in April that boosts the fast food wage by $4 to $20 per hour. The law, known as Assembly Bill 1228, was introduced by Assemblyman Chris Holden, Democrat of Pasadena, and signed into law by Governor Gavin Newsom in September. After layoffs, customers will need to use third-party delivery apps like DoorDash, Grubhub, and Uber Eats for food and pizza deliveries. ABC and Los Angeles reached out to Yum Brands, which own Pizza and other fast food, comment, but has not yet received response. So there you go, right there, Frank. If you want to get a pizza delivered, it's got to be by somebody else.
Motherfucker, do we? And you know, crazy. It's crazy. We didn't. None of us voted on this, man. You know what I'm saying? None of us voted on this shit. Just like the gun. Oh, shit. Just like the gun laws. Nobody voted on that new gun bill. You know, the restrictions and shit they're trying to do. But see, you appoint these people and you vote these people in to not include you. That's basically, you see what I'm saying?
Hey, man.
To not, you know. Why are we
Is
voting for these
diversity, equity, inclusion? Is diversity, equity, inclusion a real thing?
See, the dude.
Hey, I'm just asking, man. I'm asking the question. I mean, that seemed like everybody getting left behind. You know, no child left behind. Everybody get left behind. You know.
See, if you voted for this dude, that's on you. You know what I'm saying? And then remember they recalled him, and these dumbass motherfuckers. See, people are dumb.
He didn't win recall. They did some bullshit.
Yeah, I remember that. They sure did.
Hey, look, man. Here's the deal, man. Gavin Newsom is close to the Pelosi's, man.
That motherfucker's a piece of shit. Yeah, that's her nephew. And then Getty, he's related to Getty, Paul Getty. You know what I'm saying? It's all you know, Jerry Brown, all these people that been in California, either been governor or has some kind of stake in California, did some kind of politics in California. He's related to. What a coincidence, right? They try to really push this dude for president, but see, a lot of dumbass motherfuckers are gonna vote for this motherfucker if they do. See, it's crazy because they do all types of shit for these Mexican motherfuckers and shit, but at the same time, a lot of them vote Republican, especially when they get Americanized, especially when they get hip to
let me bring up something else. Jewish students are also taking legal action against universities over anti-Semitism.
Uh-oh.
So Just to let you know, it's going down. So when 2024 come around, don't be surprised.
You know, this is always. It's only. Why is it only them? So they're like the only group of people that can be targeted. Huh? That's what I'm getting out of this shit. They're the only group of people people are fucking with. Huh? Interesting. These motherfuckers, man.
Hey man,
The people that you can't talk about have the power. Make sense?
now wait a minute. Now I ain't even play no shit like this.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I did say the Color Purple made $18 million in the first week.
What dumbass motherfucker. You know what? That's for women. That's for women. You know what I'm saying? Women love that movie. Every black woman. I ain't met no black woman that didn't like that movie. Woman that didn't like that movie. You know what I'm saying? That movie was horrible. It just basically depicted.
All right, look. I'm getting down to the nitty gritty now.
Right.
So this is for your people in California. Like I said, when I come on, get you on. I always like to bring up a California topic. So right now in California, they're testing basic income programs. You know, UBI coming up. You know they want to do it now, right? You know that, right?
Oh yeah, universal basic income. I remember we was talking about this a while ago. We was talking about this months ago.
It's becoming more and more personality. They said there will be massive layoffs in 2024. Joanne, Crash, and Fabrics. A lot of companies are filing for bankruptcy. All right. So I want you to hear this. You hear anything you don't like? Let me know.
No strings attached payments to provide people with a financial floor, what's called a guaranteed basic income. It actually dates back to 16th century England. Today, it's being tested in dozens of pilot programs across the country in cities as big as Baltimore and as small as Yellow Springs, Ohio, population about 3,700. Some of them use taxpayer funds, others use private contributions or foundation grants. Stockton, California was among the first to launch a pilot program in 2019. Earlier, I spoke with Stockton's mayor at the time, Michael Tubbs. He's also founder of a group called Mayors for a Guaranteed Income. I asked him about the genesis of Stockton's program.
That the crux of all the issues from homelessness to crime to education was this persistent poverty and economic insecurity. So my first 100 days, I gathered my team in the office and I said, you guys, I want our legacy to be an anti-poverty, a pro-economic security administration. Let's come up with all the ideas for how can we as a government ensure that people have enough to live and survive and eventually thrive. And through that, my team came back with this idea of a guaranteed income, citing work that was happening in places like Kenya and in Mexico and in Brazil. And I had heard of guaranteed income from studying Dr. King in college, so I was familiar with the idea. So I said, well, let's do it.
And as I understand it, the program ran for 2 years. You had 125 participants from neighborhoods where the median income was at or below the city's median, which I think was about $46,000. They got $500 a month for. What did you find?
So many people said the money would be spent on drugs and alcohol, or that people would stop working, or that people would use that money to commit crimes, etc. And what we saw was that people spend money the way you and I and the viewers spend money. We saw them be 2 times less likely to be unemployed. We saw them spend the money on things like utilities, on necessities, on the food, and on their children. But we also saw health impacts. We saw those with a guaranteed income saw their stress decrease. Just a small amount of money was enough, not for people to become millionaires, but for people not to be evicted, for people to take care of their children, for people to be able to pay to get their car fixed, for people to live and contribute to their communities.
So everything you just said, it sort of contradicts or counters what the critics say, because the critics say that this takes away the incentive to work, that this will foster bad spending decisions. But it sounds like that's not what you found in Stockton.
That's not what we found in Stockton, and increasingly from any of the dozens of pilots happening across this country and this world. Consistently suggests to me, John, that part of the issue is not just a data issue, but a storytelling issue, that we have to get people to see the myths, the lies, the prejudices, the stereotypes, and the biases we have against people who may have less money.
What happened when the program ended? I mean, these people in the pilot program had this income floor. What happened when that was taken away?
Well, what we saw happen after it was taken away was people were able to use this money and do things to set them up to be better off than where they started. So what I mean is several people went from part-time to full-time work. So although they're not receiving the guaranteed income, they're receiving the income that comes with a better paying job with benefits. Or some people use the money to save up to pay for the deposit necessary for rent in a better apartment. Or some people paid off credit card debts. And so folks were able to use the money to pay off the little things that were holding them back. So now they're in a much better position than they were a couple of years ago before they were part of the program.
Do you see guaranteed income programs supplementing government assistance programs or replacing government assistance programs?
I see it as a supplemental. I see it really as an extension of the social safety net. I see it as our 21st century social security. And when in the Great Depression, we decided that folks who are older deserve to have a little bit of cushion post 65 because they've done so much for our communities. And I also think our current government programs should take note about what makes guaranteed income works. Because A, it's the money, but B, it's also the trust. That maybe people don't need to do a bunch of paperwork. Maybe folks don't need someone to sit down and make them come in and set goals. Maybe a lot of folks just need cash. And maybe that will make some of the investments we're making in the government that much more efficient.
In lines, why is it so important that these payments have no strings, that they can spend it on whatever they want?
Because folks' finances are so volatile that month to month needs change, right? And for example, for folks in current government programs, if you need money for food, that's probably not the only place where you need money. We know that 1 in 2 Americans already can't afford one $500 emergency. So it's really about providing people the contingency and the ability to use their mental acuity to make decisions, because month to month, those needs may change.
These programs, the pilot programs, some of them use government money, some of them use private donations, some of them use grant money from foundations. If you were able to make this permanent across the country, how do you think it should be funded?
We are able to make this permanent across the country. And again, I think the child tax credit is a huge start, which is a guaranteed income, albeit for families with children. So state governments, county governments, local governments, we're doing pilots there because those governments can't deficit spend. They have to have a balanced budget every year. Our federal government can, and we do. We can also raise revenue. We can legalize cannabis nationwide and use the tax revenue for that to pay for guaranteed income. We could close the 2017 Trump tax cuts, which gave $2 trillion away to the richest among us. And we could close other tax loops, create a guaranteed income. There's no shortage of ways of paying for it. I really believe the question is, how do we build the wheel? How do we make it a necessity? It's a political question. We have to organize and demand of our elected officials that this is what we need, and let them know this is not scary. It's not an extreme position. This is not a utopian position. This is a position that Republicans and Democrats alike are both suffering. And that's where some of this anger we see, this raging populism we see comes from economic anxiety in some ways. So this is not a partisan issue, which is a long answer to say it's a political question, but we've been doing the work to build political will. We'll continue pushing until we get there.
Michael Tubbs for Mayors for a Guaranteed Income. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's not a new idea.
All right, man. What do you think about that, man?
See, what they're trying to do is I mean, this shit is really, man, it's not gonna be good, man, because it's gonna be a different type of dependent, you know what I mean? And people are gonna be dependent on it, and it just sounds like some more control, you know, in a different way, you know what I mean? because big government has to say so. You know what I mean? They issue out the coins, and and nothing's for free. Nothing's free. Just like there's no such thing as coincidences. Ain't nothing free in this mug. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing free in this world, right?
Mm.
There's catches to this. There's a lot of catches to that. There's nothing that that means the government is like, okay, check this. Now you got to report. You got to do this. And now you got to report this. You got to do this for us. It don't sound like a good thing to me, man. Anytime government, and then they comparing it to government, other type of government assistance programs, and that lets you know, it says a lot right there. I don't think we need that, man. We need what I mean. We need these politicians to get out of here. That's what we need. You see what I'm saying? And we need to have them let us have to say so. That's what we need. You know what I'm saying? That's how I look at it. Yeah, it sounds like a trap, man. Sounds like a trap. What you think? You know what I'm saying?
Your boy Andrew Yang had told you about this years ago. They were trying to go to universal basic income now.
And then look,
when he was running for president.
And remember it's funny how he was saying $1,500 a month for people, and then right after that, around the COVID time, they would start giving people stimulus checks for about that amount of money. Come on, man. I don't know. We can't make this shit up.
Well, look.
We can't make this shit up.
Now they talking about HUD. This is another little program, Housing and Urban Development, Marsha Fudge. You know her.
Fudge, the 18th Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. Secretary Fudge, welcome.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be with you.
So HUD's 2023 annual homeless assessment report found that on a single night in January, 650,000 people were experiencing homelessness nationwide. That's a 12% increase from 2022. What explains such a big jump?
Jonathan, there are a number of reasons, but the primary reason is that rents continue to increase, supply continues to decrease. And when you have people who have nowhere to go, and even those who do can't afford to go anywhere, you end up in what I'm looking at as a perfect storm. Jonathan, part of the problem that we have faced as a nation, especially as it relates to homelessness, is that when you look over the last 50 years, the percentage of poor people in this country has pretty much remained the same. But as the numbers, raw numbers continue to grow, we don't grow with them. We don't treat housing like we treat food insecurity or Medicare or Social Security, which are all entitlement programs. We look at it from a discretionary point of view as it relates to our budget. So it depends on the whims of the people making decisions whether they put resources toward it. So we are now in a place following COVID where there are fewer places for people to go that they can afford to go, even though we have increased the number of vouchers by more than 100,000. We have put billions of dollars into creating an environment in which people can build new, low, and moderate income housing. We are working with communities across the country. And to be perfectly honest, we are actually providing more mortgages than we have in many, many years. But the problem is so big, Jonathan. It takes a strategic approach from the all of government.
So to follow up, Secretary, then what resources are available now to address this surge?
Well, to the president's credit, he has put resources into each of the last two budgets to try to increase the spending. If you go back as far, Jonathan, as the rescue plan, there was $10 billion set aside just to address the problem of homelessness. Just this year, HUD has given out almost $600 million to communities across the country to address it. And in particular, we have tried to say that unsheltered homelessness and homelessness that is rural is something that we've not taken into account in the way we should. So we're putting more resources to it. We are connecting people. We have connected more than 400,000 people to help, whether it be to their social services people, whether it be to HHS, to VA. We are doing our part, but the problem is so big, John, that until this nation decides it is going to address this in a strategic way, it is not going to change anytime soon.
Well, one of the bright spots at HUD is the Federal Housing Administration's first-time homebuyer rate. That's at its highest in more than 2 decades, supporting nearly 1.5 million first-time homebuyers over these 3 years. How have you worked to expand home ownership during a time when many don't see home ownership as a reality, and especially when there are high interest rates?
The reality is that we have provided support for more than 600,000 first-time home buyers in an economy that everybody thought it couldn't happen. Some of the things that we've done, Jonathan, is we've made it easier to purchase a home. So we have decided that student loan debt has been a problem for people of color in particular and lower income people. So we have in our underwriting now recalculated the way that we look at it so that it is not the kind of negative that it has been in the past. We as well have made sure that people who generally would present to us and we'd say they had no credit, now we're using positive rental history. So if you've paid your rent on time for a year, we consider that you are creditworthy. We have reduced the mortgage insurance payment so that people who now can get into a house and just need that little extra, Jonathan. Maybe it is replacing a refrigerator. Maybe it is reducing the cost of rent that month. Maybe it's some other water heater or something. We are now providing the resources such that they can do those things. So it makes it easier in the long run. And we've said we as well are looking at how in the past we have had to fight with the remnants, the legacy of race in this country. So we are also looking at it from a fair housing perspective. And I think all of those things together have made it a lot easier for people to see that it is possible to own a home in this country, even today.
And Secretary Fudge, real quickly, because we're out of time, we're heading into 2024. What's your message to Americans who might be feeling pessimistic due to housing shortages, raises in rents, and the increase in homelessness?
I would say to them to not only contact HUD, but we have housing counselors all across the country. We are making it such that people who have criminal histories are going to be looked at differently in our process. I would say to them that there is hope, that we have an administration that really does care about what is going on in this country. We are addressing homelessness. We are addressing housing in a way that has not been done in decades. It's not going to happen overnight, Jonathan, but it is going to happen. And so I would say don't lose hope, because we are doing everything we possibly can to make the dream of home ownership a reality for everybody in this country.
Well, your optimism is giving me optimism. Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, Marcia Fudge. Secretary Fudge, thank you very much for coming to the program.
Thank you for having me. Merry Christmas.
Wow. Interesting. But see, the thing is, though,
What do you think,
they
man?
talk about housing and stuff like, oh, we want everybody to get a house, but y'all the ones, you know what I'm saying? Come on, y'all, and it's what's the name kind of society? This is basically fascist type of society.
Recordings just got better.
Government and
Hey, it's Dana from StreamYard.
Corporation is merged. This is a corporation anyway. It has merged, so this is, you see what I'm saying? So this is that. So y'all are not stopping people like BlackRock. Y'all not stopping people like Bill Gates from buying these houses and making people permanent renters. Why y'all not stopping that? Y'all letting them do that. So, but then y'all cry, oh, we want everybody to have a house, man. Everybody should be living this and that, man. Houses be like food and water and shelter and all this shit. It's just like double side, you know. They talk about both sides. They'll say one thing, but then they'll let everybody else do another thing to keep taking advantage of you to make it. I don't know, man. You know what I'm saying? Having a house is important. Don't get me wrong, but y'all not making it easier for people to do it. And then you want to give, so-called solutions like this. You see what I'm saying? But it's just like y'all not stopping the people from keeping it. I don't know, man. Y'all not stopping the big corporate. You know what I'm saying? Corporatocracy. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's just kind of like bullshit.
Let me bring this up. Fair use Copyright disclaimer on Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976 allowing made fair use purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright said to my otherwise be infringing. All right, now we're getting into the deep stuff. All right, Frank, got to get into the numerology. Is that okay?
Yeah. You know what, man?
So they say respiratory illness is up in 23 states. I said, dang, how you 23? That's it? 23?
No, that's it.
Here at 4:30, if you are feeling a bit under the weather, you are not alone. The flu, RSV, and COVID all going around, and cases continue to increase amid holiday gatherings.
And heads have classified New Jersey as being a high for respiratory diseases. Action News reporter Caroline Goggin is live in Center City tonight. Caroline, what are the experts saying here locally?
Well, Christy and Gray here at Jefferson Hospital in Center City, a doctor tells me that it's pretty common for cases of respiratory illnesses to rise this time of year. He says right now, especially in Philadelphia, the main concern is the flu. The most wonderful time of the year is also a popular time to get sick. The CDC says 23 states, including New Jersey, are currently seeing high or very high levels of respiratory illness activity. People dealing with the flu, COVID, and RSV.
This is what we should be seeing, I think. Doesn't make it any more pleasant.
The past month, the CDC is reporting a 200% increase in related hospitalizations, a 60% spike in those for RSV, and a more than 50% increase in hospitalizations for COVID-19.
A couple of reasons why. It's colder, we move closer, that increases transmission. There's evidence that COVID reduces our immune response, which can make us more susceptible to infection.
In New Jersey, the state considers its flu activity to be at a moderate. In Pennsylvania, data shows flu cases and ER visits for the flu are rapidly increasing. Almost 33,000 cases have been reported since October.
What we're seeing right now in Philadelphia and nationwide is a rather significant increase in influenza A.
Dr. John Zerlo, the chief of infectious diseases at Jefferson, says the flu can be especially problematic for people over the age of 60 who have pre-existing medical issues. When it comes to RSV, state data shows cases are high, but they're coming down.
So I think we peaked probably in the mid to late fall. So we've been seeing a decline in the RSV cases.
Doctors are warning people to assess their own risks when gathering with loved ones this holiday season. Over at Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, they've actually issued a recommendation to patients and their families, warning them to wear a mask when they go to their doctor's appointments because of the rise of viral illnesses.
These mother lovers, man.
They back to the old dirty tricks again, ain't they, Frank?
Wow. But see, why they not saying how any of this, potentially is, how it even came about? Why are they not, you know what I'm saying? Why are they not trying to say, oh, we think it's this or this, or, the studies say.
Why do you care? Is that important?
What'd you say?
Why you care? Is that important? Just they gonna do as I say and not as I do.
Yep, man. That shit crazy, man. But see,
hey man, hey look, they told you it's in 23 states. Who counting?
And there you fucking go, man. Who the fuck is down?
Who counting?
Man?
How you know?
How do you know? Damn, man, these motherfuckers, man. But see, people ain't gonna ask those kind of questions, you know what I mean? Because we got Instagram, we got TikTok, we got fucking reality TV show, we got Love and Hip Hop. So we're not gonna that's the distraction right there. That's the main shit that we on. We're not on any kind of anything with any kind of substance at all, you know what I mean? We just on the bullshit, the boo-boo, you know what I mean?
All right, man. I got to talk about DC, man. The mayor, they suing the mayor in DC.
It's a sister, isn't it? It's a sister out there, black lady, right?
Yeah, she but that don't mean nothing. People ain't been able to get their SNAP benefits in time.
See, you know what I noticed?
Is beautiful.
You know what I noticed? I noticed that
what you notice?
The countdown is.
And if somebody that so-called look like us is in the situation and is running something, this shit is ran down. and that's the scapegoat. You say, oh man, well this or this, what about this mayor? What they doing? You know what I'm saying? And then the white motherfuckers can say, or the Cree people say, oh, you know what? Shit, that ain't on us. Well, it's not racist. How can it be racist? Because the person that's running this shit look like you, and it's a female. So there goes your inclusion and your equity right there. Or equity inclusion, that stupid ass 2 words that they put together and shit. Damn.
Let them tell it. Here we go.
On DC Mayor Muriel Bowser supposed to give DC SNAP benefits a boost starting January 1st, but she has yet to do so, and council members claim she's now breaking the law. Let's get right over to Fox 5 Stephanie Ramirez. She is live in DC's Shaw neighborhood looking into more on what's going on here. Steph?
Jacqueline, I learned there's at least one group that is now looking into whether they can sue the mayor over this. We're outside of a giant in the Shaw neighborhood right now. And earlier today spoke a long-time D.C. resident who says that she is now having to buy less groceries, trying to stretch out her SNAP benefits for the entire month, receiving less money on her EBT card, but also dealing with high costs because of inflation. I did ask Stacey Watson if there was dumb thing she'd like to say to the mayor, what would it be? Here's her response.
Because you could be in the same predicament. It's just not right. It's just not right. I think about other people and the senior citizens, to get like $50 or something like that. Some people get 10, some get 16. So they can't live off of that. After they get like a loaf of bread and maybe a pack of chicken, they can't get anything else.
We're talking about SNAP, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program meant to address food insecurity, hunger, and poverty. The D.C. Council passed a boost to the benefit to help residents after the federal government let enhanced benefits run out this year. A little over $39 million was supposed to go to temporarily increasing SNAP benefits for D.C. residents from January 1st to September 30th. The city has the money for it, but the mayor hasn't spent that money on SNAP yet. Apparently, budgetary and steps, according to the DCists. In a memo last week, the city's attorney general made clear that the mayor did not have the authority to use the money for something else without the council's approval.
I don't want to say what the council is going to do as a next step, other than that I'm trying to get a meeting with the mayor and a couple of the council members who are directly involved so that we can see if we can resolve this. That would be ideal. There have been a number of instances over the past year where there have been some missteps by the executive that have not inured to her benefit, and it doesn't lead to good relations with the councils.
Guys, some interesting stats here. The Center on Budget and Policy Priorities said in fiscal year 2022, 1 in 5 DC residents used SNAP, and they also estimated the average benefit this year to be about $188 a month, when we know that sometimes the average cost for groceries could be anywhere from $300 to nearly $500 a month here in the District of Columbia. Now, even if the mayor were to change her mind and put that money toward the enhanced SNAP boost, right, that was approved by the council, we're told that a lot of benefits by January 1st. But again, the council chair says he is looking to have a meeting with the mayor. We did reach out to the mayor, haven't heard back yet. Guys.
What do you think about that, Frank?
Damn, they stealing from them people, man. That's just straight theft right there. They stealing like them. They take all their stuff.
Homeowners, if you're
because you still got it, because there's still okay. So I think this is how that works, right? There's still a certain amount of money allocated and funds allocated specifically for SNAP, that program. You see what I'm saying? And that's by the states, isn't it? I know maybe the government, but then it's state to state. So where's the rest of that money going? They pocket in. See, the news will report it. The news is never going to say Sounds like they're stealing money. So, but when the jab was around and all the 19 thing was around, it's funny how the news reporters butted in and was giving their personal opinion about this. But when stuff like this happens, when the people get robbed, they don't say nothing about it. You notice that? You notice the news reporters never give their opinions on stuff like that. When people are getting robbed and people are done dirty. You know what I'm saying? But they'll give their opinion on see, that lets you know it's all an agenda. They're not, and that lets you know that the media is another branch of the government. You see what I'm saying? They're not going to go against, even if it's a state government. They're not going to go against the state. They're not going to go against the federal.
Now wait a minute. Now, all right, man. Look, now let's get to the psyops, right?
You see what I'm saying? Though, does that make sense? You agree with me? They're stealing them. They're just stealing their people's money. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. All right, man. Growing number of U.S. mass shooting nearly doubling in days in a year.
Uh-oh.
The Gun Violence Archive has now tracked 632 mass shootings so far this year in the United States. That's significantly more mass shootings than there have been days so far this year. ABC News Chief Justice Correspondent Pierre Thomas joins me now. Pierre, I do want to get your thoughts. We just got an update from authorities in Las Vegas on this shooting at UNLV. What do you make of the suspect's motive and what we saw play out there?
Well, we're still, gathering information, but it's clear that it may be tied, and I emphasize the word may be tied to the fact that employment at universities in Nevada and specifically UNLV. So now not necessarily tied to any kind of massive terrorism plot or anything like that, but for those who lost take lead on an example of the tragic gun violence that we see playing out time and time again at every sector of American society. You can say shopping centers, you can say houses of worship, you can say movie theaters.
In our conversation out, Pierre, because you spent years reporting on gun violence and those innocent victims. You recently interviewed a 13-year-old girl, Alea, who was caught in the crossfire. This was for your special One Girl, One Bullet. You also spoke to her doctors. Let's take a listen to some of that piece.
Her heart stopped once. The Atrium Cabarrus facility in the emergency department. Her heart stopped again, and they had to perform emergency surgery on her chest to open it up.
What do you want to be able to do freely without crutches?
Walk. That's what I've been wanting to do for the longest.
So she just wants to walk. Pierre, what did you discover in telling Alea's story?
Well, a number of things about that story stood out to me. Number one, children being killed by gunfire is the leading cause of death of young people in this country. That's a recent phenomenon. And despite the fact that gun violence has actually gone down a bit in the last 2 years, it's stubborn when in regards to young people. And in fact, more young people was in elementary school. So this is an ongoing chronic plague that the country has. And even when it gets a little bit better, it's still horrible. And in telling that story, I think the main thing that came across to me is that the people face weeks, if not months, if not years of rehabilitation in many cases. In this particular case, she was home in the middle of the night in her own bedroom with her twin sister, and shots rang out. 30 bullets pierced the apartment that she lived in, and one hit her in the stomach. And there it remains. And to hear how this young lady had to strive and bullet damaged her intestines, her colon, the artery that controls blood flow to her legs, and that even now she's still rehabbing and trying to get her life back to some semblance of normalcy, was really the point of that story.
excellent piece, Pierre, and I hope our viewers can all watch it. It's on Hulu from Nightline and online on YouTube. You can see it too. You know, the White House. I'm curious about your what you see as a path forward here, Pierre, because we hear the White House again today calling for common sense gun reform. It's a call we hear time and time again after a mass shooting or those innocent victims. What do you see as any possible measure that could be common sense to help get to the root of this problem?
Well, I had a conversation with Congressman Maxwell Frost very well when he said that, you know, he's optimistic in the sense that there's an Office of Gun Violence Prevention in the White House, which is better coordinating federal efforts. But he said it's like watching paint dry, basically, in terms of meaningful gun control legislation being passed. We had modest gun control legislation passed shortly after the Uvalde massacre. There should be universal background checks, a broader expansion of so-called red flag laws. The American public still remain in a state of limbo. So again, there we are. And as I said to George Stephanopoulos on Sunday, George, I can guarantee you in a few days we'll have word of another mass shooting, and then we have Las Vegas and what just happened in Texas as well.
Damn,
Here we
don't be saying that.
are. Pierre Thomas, thank you so much for your reporting and deep expertise on this.
Pleasure.
Let's bring the big
Don't
story
be
to our
saying-
panel.
don't
Joining
be
us
saying
today
that.
is ABC News contributor and Sirius XM radio host Mike Muse, ABC News contributor and former Republican Virginia Congresswoman Barbara Comstock, Democratic strategist and co-founder of Lift Our Voices, Julie Roginski, and ABC News contributor and op-ed columnist for the Los Angeles Times, Elsie Granderson. Thank you all for being here. Elsie, I'm going to start with you because you have said violence epidemic is that we dump many of these solutions at once into one bucket. What do you mean by that?
Well, unfortunately, I've been covering mass shootings, very much like Pierre for a long time as a journalist. And what's occurred to me throughout my years of coverage is that you hear a lot of platitudes in terms of solutions being said by elected officials, like common sense gun laws. And you ask a very smart follow-up question, which is, what is an example of that? Right? Like, how do we begin to construct solutions beyond just the platitudes? So I would suggest that instead of looking at what the American people want, because clearly elected officials aren't interested in that they look at what other elected officials want. And it seems to me that when it comes to the conversation of mass shootings, instead of looping in mass shootings with gang violence and gun violence and employee violence and et cetera, let's hone in on one particular form of violence and what it is attached to. Whether it's mass shooting, let's focus in on one. Regardless of the other shootings that get into the headlines, let's kind of shooting before trying to move on to the next, as opposed to finding one bullet to solve all the problems, because that's not effective.
Well, Barbara, what do you make of that? Because we so often hear from the people who are making change in policy, from Republican lawmakers, thoughts and prayers, but very little push for action. Are there any areas, to get into those specifics, that there could be bipartisan support for?
Yeah, we did have the bill last year, but I think red flag laws are still something that you have in Republican states like Florida and Indiana and other Republican states that there is broad support for. I think there's some room for background checks. I'd like to see some kind of, presidential commission where you do bring, some very conservative Republicans and Democrats together and look at what has been done in these states of these shootings, where what particular thing would have prevented this, these people from getting guns? Because I think there are particular things in a lot of these cases where you can go back and say, okay, let's change that law, and there would be more agreement. But what we're doing isn't working, so we've got to come together and do more.
the shooting at UNLV. You know, this is not the first time we've seen horror in Las Vegas. There was the Mandalay Bay resort shooting that left 58 people dead back in 2017. What do you think when it comes to any sort of solution so that we don't witness these horrors time and time again?
You know, this isn't rocket science. We don't have more mental health issues in this country than other developed countries do. We don't have more people playing video games than people do in Western Europe, for example. But we are the only country where this kind of thing happens. And as Pierre mentioned, not just every day, but several times a day, these mass shootings that happen. And it is because of our have higher rates of mass murder than states that have better and stronger policies to prevent that kind of thing. So again, you know, we could sit here and talk about have to enforce these laws and create new laws and make it stronger.
And Mike, I want to go to you in the absence of action on that. How much do you think this, do you think that this is something that people think about when they're going to concerts, when they're going to school? And what can the person at home feel like they can do about it?
That's a really great question. When Americans are going about their daily activities, I don't necessarily think that gun violence is on the top of their mind as much as it is that there is possible threats that are out there. But I do think, Elizabeth, though, that those students who are in is now a part of their conscious. I was with a family friend recently, and I was with the daughter, and they were talking to me about mass shooting drills that they do here in Manhattan. And I was triggered by that. So I think it's a part of the consciousness of our children more so than it is in adults. And I was thinking about this morning and looking at the data over 627 mass shootings. And I'm wondering if we've been looking at this wrong from a language perspective. Instead of using the word comprehensive gun reform, if we should just piecemeal it one small initiative at a time, because a narrative is out there of this idea that people are wanting to take away your guns. And so that is so embedded into the American psyche for individuals who are pro-guns and pro-Second Rights Amendment. I don't think that's going to change. But if we change the language to make it piecemeal and more incremental, over time, once individuals recognize, then we can begin to subconsciously change from incremental to the actual macro level.
That's a great point, step by step.
If I may, Mike, I agree a lot with what you're saying, but I don't think at this point incremental is necessarily something that we should be aspiring to, considering this conversation really started Columbine. You know, it's not a recent conversation. So what exactly is incremental if we've been facing this problem for the last 3 to 4 decades?
Well, last 3 or 4 decades, we've been saying comprehensive gun reform, but we're seeing in 27, the largest ever. So what we have been doing isn't working. So you can't keep doing the same thing without trying to find another alternative. So shootings are increased levels that were ever been. Michigan State students, you had students, Elizabeth, who said that they experienced a mass shooting in their high school and then also to experience it on their campus.
That word comprehensive, such a stalemate here in Washington a lot of the time. Guys, Mike, Barbara, Julian Elsie, thanks so much.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC coverage. Click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.
Didn't we say that? Didn't we say the dude said the same thing we said? He said, I seen this one certain mass shooting he was talking about, and then I was saying there was going to be more. You low-key telling on yourself. You see how they tell? You see that? You see what he said? But don't always say that there's going to be more. Don't we always say there's going to be another one? There's going to be another one. And they see what they do.
Hi, I'm Zoe Gong. As a traditional Chinese medicine chef and food therapist,
they do all that, right? To try to make it seem like there's some kind of copycat. There ain't no damn copycat. You know what I'm saying? Y'all keep doing this shit for the script and the narrative. For the gun control, and guess what? They're coming for the guns hard in 2024 now. How come there hasn't been any mass shootings in the last couple of days? Since y'all hit that reform bill, since y'all hit that gun control, y'all coming hard, you know. Interesting.
Mm.
And there was another thing they said too. They said,
goes, bro.
he said something else too. What did he say? I forgot what he said, man. But it's just crazy, man. You know, no, but who's counting, right? How do they know the exact count and all this, right? Because see, they know the count because it's psyops. Of course, you know the count because you're staging this shit. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, like I said, if you think about it, there's them in the hood. Why they don't call mass shootings in the hood? Why is that? I thought a mass shooting, the definition of mass shooting was what, 4 more people shot or dead? Was it say? Was it 4 more people, right? So it's not the same in the hood when 4 people get shot. It's just psychological, dude, and it's like it's kind of like spiritual stuff too, man. That they're hitting us on too. You know, these conservative white motherfuckers always talk about division. This is division. This is division like a motherfucker. What they doing with this, you know what I'm saying, with these narratives, dude. That shit is division like a motherfucker, man. You know, you got some people talking and talking points that the news is talking, and you got, you know what I'm saying, people like us that is just we challenging it, man. That's bullshit, you know. And you notice it's always in certain states. You know what I mean? It's always in certain states. It's you notice it'd be the same states, they be having them over and over again. Why is that? Right? Texas, Florida, states like that. You notice that? You notice there don't be too many in California. Do you notice that? Places like this?
No, that'd be going on in California. They just ain't gonna talk about that.
Because those are the real ones. Those are the real motherfuckers getting shot. That's what that is. You know, the Creed people don't have them narratives. They can't control that. You know, they can't control the organic. They can only control the fake. Just like the AI that's coming. Yeah, but they're running these psyops, man. You know, and it's okay. Now it's about to be an election year this year. So I mean, it's good. They're gonna wrap them up. They're gonna wrap them up. Man.
All right, well, let me bring this up. Misinformation.
Oh, so now they're using those 2 words again, or that one word again, misinformation. Because remember they was using it about the jab in the virus, right? So now, I get it. So now censorship is gonna. So y'all gonna be more transparent about your censorship. Y'all gonna be, you know, on your censorship about other things, more things. You know what I mean? It's crazy, man. People don't see it, man.
Yep. So let me play this.
And as the conflict between Israel and Hamas rages on, a CBS News investigation has found misinformation about the war is widespread on social media. And as it becomes more difficult to separate fact from fiction, a new survey from Deloitte finds 51% of Gen Z teens say they get their news mainly from those platforms. National correspondent Tom Hansen explains the consequences of being misinformed and what can be done to help decipher the truth.
The Sphere in Las Vegas. With over 1 million lights, countless tourists have traveled to this architectural marvel. Spectacular views of the moon. And this viral Instagram post claims to show, after the war started, the Sphere even transformed into a massive Israeli flag in solidarity. But did that really happen? Real or fake? That's exactly what these students at Highland Park High School in Dallas, Texas, are trying to figure out. Raise your hand if it's real.
This is a fake. Now, when you're pulling information off of social media, how do you know that it's accurate?
If from the first pass, I truly can't tell if it's real or not, usually put it into a reverse image search.
Brandon Jackson leads this media literacy course. It focuses on misinformation, which is incorrect or misleading, and disinformation, which is deliberately deceptive.
Is there any part of you that's like, if that's fake, then what's actually real?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
all the time.
You get this feeling in your chest almost where, oh, that was fake. I totally thought that was real.
Makes you feel stupid. I thought I was smarter than that.
The lessons are a counteroffensive to the information wars playing out on social media, bringing the shock and horror of a bloody conflict more than 7,000 miles away directly to the screens of American teenagers.
Are you guys seeing the same war that your parents are seeing?
Definitely not.
These students tell us what they see on their phones, whether real or fake, shapes how they see world events.
It can cause like someone to like pick a side or even change their mind about what they previously thought, since it's so like polarizing.
Video has a kind of immediacy, but we need to help people understand how to evaluate a video.
Stanford researchers found teens are not evaluating enough to recognize the deluge of misinformation online, and that can have dangerous consequences.
We are in a new economy, and we need to understand that the goal of this economy is to enrage us.
As an experiment, we wanted to see for ourselves just how challenging it is to find the truth online. With the help of my investigative producer, we created 3 profiles on Instagram and TikTok.
I think we're curious, when you start from a blank slate, what comes at you when you search certain terms? So how are we going to set it up?
We have 3 different phones, and along with that, we got 3 separate SIM cards.
We posed as gender-neutral 17-year-olds interested in learning more about the Israel-Hamas conflict. Our first account, Taylor, searched these terms about Israel.
19.7 million posts.
Andy, our second account, searched these terms.
Lots of Palestinian flags.
And our third alias, Sam, typed in both searches. We also started following accounts.
81.2 thousand, so we're going to follow that one.
And liking 3 posts for each one.
If this works the way it seems, in the background now, the algorithm should be curating things on that topic.
Today, we're going to see what the algorithm gives us back. Oh, that is graphic. You can see a bone sticking out of his leg. It's hard to watch.
Those really hard to watch videos became a pattern on the accounts where we included search terms like the Palestinian flag. After adding a couple more searches on each account, our feeds were full of false information on all 3.
Allah, I can't believe I'm doing this.
Like this video of someone claiming to work in a Gaza hospital.
I have to fix a fracture for a 5-year-old boy. Without morphine.
An analysis revealed this video was staged.
That video has already been widely debunked. If I am searching for information about this conflict, that still pops up.
Yeah, no matter if the video gets debunked, it gets reposted and they can still go viral.
The same thing happened with this video that popped up on our account where we searched Israel-centric terms.
It reported to show an Iranian warplane landing on an Israeli aircraft carrier in an attack. Obviously, that would generate global headlines.
The way that looked, it looks like a video game to me.
Dan Evan at the News Literacy Project had some doubts as well. The nonpartisan organization teaches students how to tell fact from fiction on social media.
The same tip that I give every single time is to slow down. Look for authenticity, look for the source, look for evidence. Look for reasoning, and to look for the context.
Evan calls it pre-bunking. In other words, doing your own fact-checking before you form an opinion.
When you're developing, your views about the world, these false claims alter that. They drag people down more dangerous paths.
Right now, 18 states in the U.S. offer some form of media literacy education or resources for students, but only 4 of them require a media literacy curriculum for all students K through 12.
People are recognizing how unprepared we were for the internet, and we're catching up, and we are trying to get this stuff into schools, and I think more schools are being open to that.
Schools like the one we visited in Dallas, where students believe this kind of curriculum could make a difference, not only in the classroom, but also in the world.
I hope that people in our generation start to want to become more educated about issues. And it can just be really dangerous if we don't seek out the real information.
What a fascinating piece. Joining me now with more on this here in Studio 57 is CBS News national correspondent Tom Hansen. What an interesting piece, Tom, because I think a lot of us are having conversations about this. Now we have this investigation to sort of show that it is, can you change the actual algorithm? Do we have any power here?
Yeah, well, the simple answer is not here in the United States. TikTok, however, has allowed users in the European Union to opt out of the algorithm. That's to comply with a new law there. But neither TikTok nor Instagram offer that feature to Americans. And look, the algorithms aren't necessarily a bad thing. In fact, they've been used as an effective tool to get to the truth and spread the truth on social media, especially in a circumstance like Gaza, where journalists struggle to get in and out of the area. But that cuts both ways. They also are an effective tool to spread mis and disinformation. And unfortunately, that's what we saw in our experiment.
Yeah, that's an important point to make. I wonder what's being done about misinformation on those apps. Have they said anything about what they're going to do, TikTok, Instagram?
Well, Chanel, we reached out to both companies. They tell us that they're fighting the spread of misinformation and they're hiring fact checkers. But I want to bullet point a couple things that they told us. Instagram tells us it adds warning labels to content those fact checkers rate false. TikTok representatives asked to see some of the examples we were featuring in our investigation, and not long after we sent them those links, those posts were removed from the site.
Wow.
But as you heard us discuss, me and my producer Laura, just because you take down a link doesn't mean that means the video just goes away. Sometimes these videos recirculate and still go viral. And that's what we saw in our investigation as well. And I should note that we've seen some of those videos still circulating as of our last check.
Wow. Okay, a really powerful story, Tom. Thanks so much.
We've been saying that. We've been saying that.
Yes. Always. Always.
Is it just me or
Lately?
what?
Why?
Yo,
It always feels like it's not possible to do it
BJ.
all the time or to get it right.
Yeah, there's a lot of anxiety around this because it's the hardest.
Yo.
Yeah, man. So misinformation is on the rise, brother.
But see, but that last video, but we've been saying that though. We've been saying that you know what I'm saying? That this shit is fake. We've been saying that. So now see what they're doing, I see what they're doing. They're saying, they're trying to give you just, they're kind of like telling you that this shit is bullshit. Cause remember when we, even with the Ukraine thing, the images that we used to first start to see about the Ukraine thing, those were images from old movies and stuff like that. So I'm not surprised, man. I ain't surprised. But see, who's controlling the algorithm though? You hear what I said? Who controls the algorithm? Whoever controls the algorithm, right, is could stop these videos from being put up. Or is it just, am I right or wrong?
No, you're right.
So I mean, the news is full of shit, and they play like, oh, well, like we don't know what's going on. When they know, when they're involved, they're low-key involved in it, Man, that shit's wild, man. This shit is wild.
You're right. Whoa. Michael Eric Dyson hanging out with ADL. Let me pull this up for you, man. Before I go, man, I gotta play this clown stuff. It's clown stuff, Frank. She wants your sympathy, Frank.
Well,
you hear me?
Yep.
Good damn afternoon, Americans. Jericho Green here with you once again. Don't forget, check the description box, hit that link to my new channel, Green's House. Thank you all for the over 2,000 subscribers. Like, subscribe, share, and all that good shit. Now, I saw something today, and there's this internet phenom, the latest thing to do going on, where people will say, like one of them I saw, where these girls are like, oh, we're from LA. We're LA girls. Of course we're gonna have sushi 3 times a week. You know, and they go on talking, they do 4 or 5 different things about whatever topic they're talking about. What was the other one? Of course I'm a dog mom. Or I'm a dog mom. Of course I'm gonna sit there and watch my dog lick its genitals and asshole, and then I'll let it come over to me and get that taste out of its mouth on my nose and mouth. Oh, that last one I made up. Like, you get what I'm saying. I'm a so-and-so. Of course I'm going to do this. That's the latest internet phenom going on, right? So I saw one today from Gabrielle Union. Yes, D-Wade's wife / mom, the destroyer of his son, Zion. You know, they got together. She enacted her plan, and he handed over his testicles and allowed her to fuck his son up and push him into a lifestyle that has a pretty high suicide rate. So she says, I'm a black actress and producer in Hollywood. Of course I'm mistaken for, you know, these 5 actresses, you know, because they think we all look the same. They think I'm Halle Berry and all these other, girl, you ain't no fucking Halle Berry. But that was one of the ones she named. Like, of course I get called all these other actresses. And I'm a black actress and producer in Hollywood. So of course I have to put my makeup team into my contract, because I guess they don't want to pay for her makeup team, some shit. And I'm a black actress and producer in Hollywood. I have to keep working because we can never retire and all this shit. So I'm thinking, man, you're living paycheck to paycheck. And in all of these videos, each different scenario she gives, she's in a different setting. So in the first one, she's walking in the back of this palatial landscape, you know, infinity pool and all this shit. I'm like, you paycheck to paycheck, huh, Gabrielle Union? Who's been making movies since like the fucking early 90s? You're still struggling? So then I went to this thing, you know, they call, what is it? Oh yeah, Google. And I Googled her net worth. She's worth $40 million. Her husband / son, D Wade, he's worth 170. So what the fuck are you talking about? Are you trying to garner sympathy? You want us out here paying prices that are as high as giraffe pussy. You want us to have sympathy for you? You want us to be empath and sympathetic to your situation, bitch? You're a millionaire. Shut the fuck up. Speaking of all these teams you have to have worked into your contract, do you have a PR team? Do you have anybody on your team to say, hey, Gabrielle, that's fucking tone deaf. Don't say that. Gabrielle, everybody who's going to see this isn't a millionaire like you. Don't do it. I guess not. I guess if there was nobody on her team to say, Gabrielle, don't fuck that little boy up. Let him be a boy. Don't turn him into a weird Ku Klux trans girl. I guess if there's nobody to tell her not to do that, there's definitely not going to tell her to anybody there to tell her to not do the latest craze on the internet. I'm a black actor and producer, actress and producer in Hollywood. Of course I blah, blah. Nobody gives a...
Basically what Gabrielle Union's talking about, daggone, she got all these, you know, the men, you know, she tired of the men making more money than the women in producing roles and stuff. I'm like, whatever, man. But she worth $40 million though.
What did she even do? Does she still act?
See?
What does she still do? Like, Did she even? I don't ever seen her in a movie in a minute. But see,
Last time I think she was on the abortion lobby.
ooh, but you got kids though. I don't know how these motherfuckers that got kids push it. Well, I'll tell you. Honestly, if you know, if I was one of their kids, I would really be looking.
I don't know if she got kids. I thought she had a surrogate.
No, she did. She had the what's name, right? She got one of them is theirs. One of those kids is theirs. I think the youngest one is theirs. I know the
surrogate.
One
surrogate.
Oh wow, bro! Wow.
Nah, man. She ain't got nothing cracking. That woman a witch, man. You know she a witch, man. Let's see. Yeah, she a witch, dude. She ain't got nothing cracking. Now, let's talk about this color purple for 1 second. This is what they're saying about it.
There's nothing more powerful than you making your thing happen. Really going.
The Color Purple, the movie music, see, I told you, the movie musical is cashing in at the holiday box office.
How come you so nice? I don't know. Maybe you too nice.
You seem like trouble.
I come here out of respect. But if there ain't none to get, that show ain't none to get.
The big screen remake brought in $18 million on its first day alone. That's the second biggest Christmas Day opening of all time, behind Robert Downey Jr.'s Sherlock Holmes in 2009. The new movie features songs from the Tony Award-winning Broadway show, as well as a star-studded cast, including Taraji P. Henson, Fantasia Barrino, and Halle Bailey. Congratulations to all of them. Extraordinary achievement.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't miss the Today.
A lot of money they say was raped in, brother.
Oh, man, women. There was a lot of women. I bet you 80-70% of the women. How much you want to make a bet? And see, the crazy thing about it is, man, that movie don't put us in a good light. You know what I mean? And it perpetuates stereotypes, man. Some more stereotypes about both of us, men and the women. Mainly more so the men. You see what I'm saying? So, see, we
there's an article I got on my phone right here.
We like foolishness. You know, we praise foolishness.
There's an article I got on my phone right here called According to the Science, Doing Your Own Research Turns You into a Conspiracy Theorist, right? What you just said would make you kind of like a conspiracy theorist, because you saying the movie had a lot of women and their agendas and all that, right? But you just reporting on what you saw. I mean, the fact is you saw a lot of women in the movie, didn't you? And you know they got an agenda going on. It's common sense, man.
Damn. See, they know that that's true. They know that you know, the more foolish it is, the more, you know what I mean, more against us as a people it is, the more that we co-sign it. You notice that?
Hey man, y'all like clown shows, man.
And we don't, and see, we like stuff that puts us in a bad light, but then we'll call white people racist. Interesting. We'll call other people racist and say other people treat us a certain kind of way, but we don't value how we treat each other. But damn, isn't it how we treat each other more important than how they treat us, or is it just me? You see, that don't make no sense, man. And then, I mean, it's the men too. Don't get me wrong, it's the men. It's a lot of dumb motherfuckers. But this is the men and the women, really, man. We just lost, man. And you know, a lot of people, you know, talk that stupid shit on the internet, man, and people just like eat it up and don't even, you know what I'm saying? want to even, if they even don't even believe it, they don't want to go by what their own thought and opinion is on it, the situation. They're just going to run, to what, everybody else is saying on the internet. But I mean, I never liked the movie. I never, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't see no significance in it. I just don't see the purpose. You see what I'm saying? Because I mean, that's what we had. We had Ricky Lake. We had Jenny Jones. We had Oprah. All that was to smear the so-called black man in the 90s, and including movies like Color Purple. Or what is it? It came out in the 90s or the late 80s. I don't know. That's all it was. And wasn't it oppression?
Let me bring some up right quick.
Let me say something real quick before you say. Wasn't it oppression back then? Wasn't it like segregated back then? They were saying, like, you know what I'm saying, when that movie. So my thing is, why are y'all? It's funny how they put it out there and have us against each other, put us in a bad light. But wasn't the white motherfuckers the oppressors in that movie? I don't know. People don't. I don't know, man. It's crazy, man. I just wanted to.
But let me play this for you. There's a lot of women, got talking about Christmas. The guy, I know one of them said her man bought her a Marc Jacobs bag or something like that. And I had to go look up who is Marc Jacobs. He one of the top 50 most powerful gay men and women in Hollywood. I mean, in fashion or something like that. But I guess nobody cares.
He's a dynamo designer.
Born on April 9th, Swanson School of Design, where he was a star student.
Marc Jacobs caught the attention of Perry Ellis when he was still in school. He won Perry Ellis Gold Thimble Award, and that set it off.
Jacobs joined Perry Ellis in 1989 and introduced Seattle street fashion to the runway.
The grunge collection had plaid shirts and long skirts and boots, and the look was bedraggled.
Women's Wear Daily went wild over it, gave him big headlines, and Bloomingdale's thought it was fantastic. So it was successful, but yet it was a bomb because he got the pink slip from Perry Ellis.
Jacobs started his own line, and by 1992, the Council of Fashion Designers of America had named Jacobs the Women's Designer of the Year.
Marc has a talent for designing clothes that are so subtly chic. They're the must-have item of the season.
He does unusual things in the mixture of his fabrics. He's very exciting. His designs are unique. Women from all over the world want to buy his clothes.
Jacobs' popularity soared. His runway shows became the must-see event of every season.
There are lines outside waiting to get in. A Marc Jacobs runway show is like a film premiere.
He's always had more celebrities at his show than any other designer. He did it first. I mean, it's a spectacle to behold.
In 1997, Jacobs was named creative director for Louis Vuitton and tripled the company's annual gross revenue to a staggering $5 billion.
Marc Jacobs really transformed the house of Louis Vuitton from something your grandmother would have carried to the hottest luxury brand in the universe.
In 2010, Marc Jacobs was named one of Time magazine's most influential people in the world. He continues to change the course of fashion design.
It's his ability to set the tone for the season or set the tone for an item, set that tone for a trend, that really make him a truly preeminent designer.
Not to mention he's a homosexual.
Damn. Like this,
but that goes to show you people don't know what they're buying and they don't know who they're supporting. That's all.
Yeah, and it's like, this, they also hype people like this up too, man, because they know that they make money off females' insecurities. See what I'm saying? They make money off females' insecurities.
My biggest game cost you $400, Frank.
You said his bag is $400. Up?
Yeah, you put it up, get a Marc Jacobs bag about $400. He can get it $400. Some of them $195, $200 something.
See, the thing is, he knows that he could, you get paid off they get paid off these women's insecurities. They're not good looking enough. Society's telling them they're not good looking enough. They're not this. They're not that. And that. You gotta shoving their products down their throat, and at the same time, you see what I'm saying? It's just like they over here, promoting people like this because they know that they making the establishment a lot of money, man. And then too, because he's gay too. That's another reason why they're hyping him up, and because he's European too. Basically, them three factors. You see what I'm saying, BJ? Does that make sense?
Could be a Creed person.
Ooh.
Damn,
say he also
had ties with Louis Vuitton.
But see, he was meant. I don't know why they hype it up. He was meant. If he had Perry Ellis, Louis Vuitton, you got people like that. And you connect with people like that. You gonna be somebody anyway. That's connections. Like they made it seem like he just came from out of nowhere and then right. He started from a one-room apartment. You know what I mean? Or you see what I'm saying, BJ? He started from a motherfucking one-room shack or something. They made it seem like they hype the worst motherfuckers up, for a reason. You see what I'm saying? Because their agenda always at play from the first play, from the start. And we're not gonna look at it from that aspect. You know what I mean? Especially a lot of these females, man. They ain't gonna look at it like that. You know what I'm saying? They gotta keep buying these products, man. Society's telling them that they're not attractive enough, man. You see what I'm saying? We gotta hype these people like Mark Jacob up, man. You know what I'm saying?
Ain't that crazy?
They ain't doing nothing for no society. He ain't doing nothing for no, you know what I mean?
Well,
no poor people or nothing like that. But we still gotta hype him up anyway. You know what I'm saying? He ain't doing nothing to end homelessness or poverty, man. You gotta hype him up.
It's all about the money, baby.
Shit, Karen Bass ain't even doing that. None of these politicians, they ain't even doing that. No. But see, that's not where the money's at to help. The money's to keep taking. That's where the money's at.
Yeah, what it is,
how am I
bro?
helping you and taking from me at the same time?
Well, look. What's your well, look. Let the people know what your information is, bro.
Well, man. Good looking out for having me back on this bad boy, man. You know what I mean? Shoot. Yeah, man, y'all, salute, man. Y'all could hit me up on Instagram, man. Frank Jones 8115, XX Frank Nitty XX on Instagram. YouTube XX Frank Nitty X man. Holla at me, man. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Look at some of them older shows, man. Check me out, see what I'm about, man. All right.
Let me bring something up. You can give me 1987 BJ1 on Twitter, Bernard Johnson Facebook, Bernard 1120 on Instagram. I think 1987 BJ on Instagram too. I think I made another page. I did make a page. You got what is it? DJ, what is it? KingBJFitness.com. You got what's the other one? Oh yeah, the other Twitter discontinued or something like that. Now let me bring this up. $ 1919 BJ if you want to cash out or send a donation or something. Let's bring this up in the context. I told Valerie hit me up and what's the guy, Dry Bones and them. They've been a lot of problem with blog talk and stuff. So I'm saying in 2024 they'll be trying to get rid of our communication and things like that. Just it.
Okay. I noticed that.
Right.
That's interesting.
So, people just need to be careful and know that things are going to get a little bit crazy. So maybe some days the phone lines are messed up. Some things are just going to go wrong. So
Man, and like you were saying, that's how you know something's wrong with this thing, because simultaneously multiple people's is not working. So that says a lot right there.
Yep. It's not working. So it is what it is. But nevertheless, we just have to be cognizant and aware of that. Sometimes we're not gonna be able to get our word out as much, so we got to make sure that we keep the fight going. But that being said, brother, just take your time, brother. Have a good night and just relax, man. Enjoy the show. New Year's coming up. Clowns will be dropping the ball, and then we got to get back to work. Daggone, don't let the sideshow distract you.
Man, all right, for sure, man. All right, peace,
Good time,
man. All right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.